This episode of the Restoration Today podcast is brought to you by MasterTech Franchise. Let's face it, in the world today, you must adapt to survive. MasterTech does just that. With innovations in procedures, operational systems, and even the products they use, MasterTech is dedicated to professionalism, lifelong learning, transparency, and open communication, and giving back to its customers and franchisees. To find out more about joining the MasterTech family, visit mastertechfranchise.com. Hello there. Thanks for checking out another episode of the Restoration Today podcast. Today, I am excited to be joined by two lovely ladies who really run Core Group. We won't tell Dan that, although Dan will listen to this. Behind the scenes, they really run the show quite a bit. So we are talking to Diane Goheen, who is the VP of Marketing, and Beth Thompson, who is the Senior Director of Events. We are talking about the Collective by Core, which is their big event that's coming up in July. It will literally be the hottest event of the season, both physically and just because it's
that is correct.
Austin in July, it's going to be hot. But
yes,
I am supposed to be unbiased, but I think a lot of people know this is one of my favorite events of the year, and you guys do a really great job of coordinating and have a lot of experience with events. Beth has some experience with another company in the industry with events. So ladies, thank you very much for joining me. Cheers to
cheers.
And your much prettier drink than mine. Okay. So I want to start by having you both introduce yourselves a little bit and share your kind of backgrounds in the industry and with Core. So Diane, let's start with you.
Sure thing. So Diane Goheen, again, as Michelle mentioned, I'm the Vice President of Marketing for Core Group. I actually got started in the industry back in 2004 as an insurance agent. So I was actually an insurance agent for personal lines insurance. Actually, I take that back. That was probably back in, because I had my son. So that's back in 2002. Did that and then had my son and had a property loss of my own. And so I was so intrigued with the people that kind of came in, how helpful they were, and got basically brought into that by that. And so I was very intrigued with helping other people, helping improve lives. You know, that's one of our core values, and really seeing how, you know, from start to finish, how that helps people. So basically I've been doing that for the last, since 2004, when I got into it after my son, and came over to Core. I've managed a few different moved around with my husband and had been in management with marketing for a few different contractors, and wound up coming to Core in 2020, moving to Austin in 2020, and reconnecting with Dan. We've known each other since our old days when we both were marketing reps back then. And so it was really kind of great to reconnect and come into Core. And as a lot of people know, it was a startup. And so basically kind of got moving with that and we all started kind of ground up, but we started when there was only, I think, 5 employees. And so now we're at 25 employees within the States. And then we have 12 in Pakistan. So really neat to see that. So yeah, how it's grown so quickly.
Core has grown very quickly. Okay, Beth, share a little bit about yourself and your background.
All right. Yes. So like Michelle and Diane both said, I'm Beth Thompson. I have been at Core for just a couple months, 3 to 4 months, I think. I have had the privilege of being in this industry for a little over 8 years. I started at Next Year Solutions and was able to be really involved in the industry events throughout my time there. And now I'm excited about continuing to grow this conference and other events related to Core. Events are my passion, as I love to really focus on experience of people, attendees from start to finish. And that's something that one of the things, and I'm going to jump right in and say this. I told Diane, this is kind of what I thought about when I was thinking about talking today on this podcast. One of the things that I've had the privilege of doing is I've done events with Dan and Andy previously. And so I know their perspectives and their passions and how much they focus and allow me to focus on the small details that really set our conference apart. And that's very important to me. Like, I like to think about when everybody's had that good hotel experience where you're like, oh my gosh, they were every encounter matters from start to finish, from check-in to how's your room to this, all the little details. And then you've had that bad one and you're like, they were so rude. They would not help. And so for us and for me to be a part of a company that really values the entire experience is very important. And it's really fun because we really want attendees and people in this industry to walk away and go, that was so well done. And so it's something that I take a lot of pride in and put a lot of work into. And I'm so excited that I get to work alongside Diane and Dan and Andy. And it's just a really fun time for me to be able to come in. Obviously, I did have lived in the startup world before, and the energy that's there and just really feeding off that and continuing to stay kind of ahead of the game and, creating good experiences. So that's what I'm excited about. And then I also had the experience of coming as an attendee. So it gave me a unique perspective. Last year, I came as an attendee and an exhibitor. So I was able to have that perspective as well, which I think is going to be helpful for me this year and as we continue to grow.
That is a good point. Okay, so going into 2021 in your first event, what kind of background, kind of research did you do to figure out how to make your event different than others in the industry? This is an industry that is pretty heavy in events. I think a lot of people would agree with that. And so people have to choose what they're going to go to and what they're going to spend their time and their money and resources attending. So what did you do to ensure last year was going to be different? And let's start with question. That's one. All the follow-up, we'll start there.
Yeah. Well, I always like to ask kind of the attendee perspective. So, on both of you guys, you both went as attendees. So, obviously, Michelle, what did you see that was different? I'd like to kind of get your perspective as the attendee, what you saw different with our event itself.
Well, the whole experience was different. You had a theme that was it's not just a title. That's the theme. Like you lived out the title from all of the graphics that were everywhere, all of the marketing, all of the videos that were up on the screen, the intros to the general sessions, everything that all of your team was wearing, the receptions, everything. You carried the theme the whole way through. And you also didn't lose the momentum all the way through. There are a lot of conferences where you go and like the first day or so, everybody's excited and here and present, but then by maybe the second full day, it's like, oh. But I can say, like, as a speaker, I don't think that our attendance dropped off the second day. And you brought in, from a speaker perspective, I think you do a good job of bringing in younger thought leaders, I guess, people who are really like the next coming of age generation of leadership and restorers and thought leaders in the industry. And you're kind of on the front end of bringing a lot of those in, which I think is refreshing. And I will also give you kudos for how you treat your speakers, because I, as a speaker, have never had a hotel room comped and I've never had treats in my hotel room as a speaker. So gotta give you props there. So I guess those would be my answers.
Great. And Beth, you were also an attendee last year, so I would love to get your perspective. And of course, I'll give you an answer as well, too.
Sure. So I think the word that stood out that Michelle said is immersive. And that's what I love. It sets it apart. You come and you're fully here the entire time you're here. You're engaged. Everything connects the way it's created. It's just designed that way. And so that's the thing that really, to me, it doesn't seem disjointed. It's a flow of an experience. And again, that's a goal moving forward, is that, attendees, speakers, exhibitors feel that.
Right. So, and I think to both of your points is that, you see it in the title when we started our marketing campaign last year is, it was the collective, a conference experience. We wanted to really push that and drive that home, that it was an experience. It wasn't just another conference. We attend conferences all the time as well. We wanted to see what we could do differently. We had an airline theme last year. It was core taking off. It was our first, year kind of going into the conference space. And so we really did want to make sure that we were paying attention to every detail. I mean, down to the drink stirrers. Like you said, we all had certain outfits that we wore. We themed everything. I mean, our campaign strategies were, all aligned with one another. And I appreciate your feedback on, giving the the speakers, any of our speakers, things like that, we gave them a goodie bag. We made sure we knew what room we didn't know what room they were in. We had the hotel put in their good, put their goodie bags. But I mean, we even reached out prior and said, hey, what are your favorite snacks? What do you eat? What don't you eat? You know, are there food allergies? So we wanted to make sure that, again, it kind of brings back that experience, that attention to detail. And I think that makes all the difference in the world.
Yes.
So
I would agree with that. Okay. So what lessons did you learn from 2021 that you're bringing into 2022? What changes are you making? Like what, talk about a failure where you're going to do it different, and then talk about something good that you're totally bringing over.
Sure. Oh gosh, that's a big one. Trying to find the failure in that.
Actually, I know I can actually, even though I wasn't a part of the planning of 2021, I can, in conversation and in planning, obviously, one thing that we're really focusing in on this year, we're focusing on the exhibitors. We're doing something gamified. We're going to have a gamified app to really engage the attendees and encourage that interaction with exhibitors. We really want everybody to come in their role that they're here, whether it's an exhibitor, you know, as I said, I continue to say, to feel like it's really worthwhile for them personally, like that they feel re-energized, but also for their company, for their own growth as an individual and as their company. And so one thing that we really brainstormed was, how can we engage people and encourage that conversation and visiting of exhibitors. So we're going to have a cool gamify element that's going to come to life here pretty soon, and people will hear about, and we're really going to work hard to really capture that and get people involved.
Right. And I think to your point, you know, to her point and your point, you know, we talked a little bit last year, you and I, kind of about that and trying just to get that more engagement in the trade show hall and things like that. So this year, like she said, we're not only doing the Gamify, but we actually this year have 2 trade show halls on 2 separate floors. So we actually this year have a technology pavilion on one floor, and then we have a marketplace pavilion on another floor. So we really are trying to really drive that and make it not as long. So, you know, you get the people kind of in there and kind of spurts in there. So you have it. So it's not like, I know, like a 5-hour stint, you know, we have it for shorter hours on every day, you know. So I think that's probably one of the setbacks that the feedback, at least, that we heard last year was, you know, we wish more people had come in. So we're really trying to drive that in this year. And, you know, Beth has taken that on and just done an amazing job with it. So yeah, we love that.
Okay, so let's talk about education. What is your plan for education? Like how many speakers have you brought in, and how are you running the sessions? Because I know last year you had a number of options that you could go to. So I'm assuming it's going to be somewhat the same this year, but what does the education piece look like?
It is. So, so basically, to talk about kind of the process of how we go about that. So anyone that wants to be a speaker submits their idea, their abstract for that. And then we sit around as a team and decide what's relevant, what are people going through that are in this industry and their roles, that we can find an expert or someone to speak to that will be helpful. Like obviously, one of the big things right now has been hiring. So we have multiple sessions on recruiting and on hiring. Like we really try to think of what people are dealing with, what they're going through, and then find experts that we know or that we're connected to that can really speak and help. We want them to feel helped, you know, like that they've, you know, gotten some support and some guidance on some of the issues that they're facing. So basically the way it will work is each session will have 2 1-hour. So like, for instance, a speaker will have, they're offering twice. So it will give people 2 opportunities because there are multiple sessions to choose from. So there's 3 1-hour blocks in the day that you can choose different content to go to. And so each speaker will have 2. It sounds kind of wonky, but it works.
Right.
And so you'll be able to we'll be sending something out within the next few weeks to download the app and for people to choose those sessions and learn more about what each one of those sessions will give them, will deliver, and who those speakers are. We're really excited about the speakers that are coming in. One of the main things that I think is a powerful element of our conference is the roundtables, which you are going to be a part of. I think it's really important to set those safe spaces where people can give different perspectives. And that's something that we prioritize. And so there's the InsurTech roundtable. the high net worth carrier roundtable, and then the battling bias roundtable, which is all women in the industry. So it's just a lot of really good, when you get everybody on the stage and people are able to ask questions and communicate with each other. I think it just really helps move us forward as an industry and give new perspective, which is really good. So a lot of good content mixed in with a lot of fun that we have planned. So we're excited.
Okay.
To her point too, is some of the education is non-traditional education, if that makes sense. So, like she said, hiring out, how to hire, how to maintain, how to retain. I know that Leighton with Know How, they will be doing a session on their book as well. So that's exciting for us. All the data they've gathered with all of that, I think that's tremendous for this industry for us to know and learn about. So that's a really neat one that I'm excited to actually hopefully go in and attend. If I have the time to run over there, I definitely want to get to that one. So, and I think, also, this year's theme is evolve. So we have, 4 parts to this, and we figure it's tailored to, everybody's, whether it's admin level all the way up to CEO level, which, I think that's another piece that conferences don't really do. They're speaking to certain audiences, and when you kind of make sure that it's tailored to everyone, I think that's such a tremendous help, because we want even our own people to kind of go sit in on these sessions and learn from them as well. So yeah.
Perfect. Okay, let's talk about the social stuff and the networking. That's always a huge part of shows, right? And your show did great with this last year and had the meditation room also, which was not social, but it was a talking point and people loved it, appreciated it. So right. What are some of the networking and social events that you have planned?
Yeah. So, we have our opening reception, obviously. So again, we'll, in true core fashion, we'll be themed. The rest of the event, we'll also have our pool party on, that is, I think it's second night, the 25th. Yeah. So we'll have the pool party again, themed all the way down to the drinksters. This year, we're doing an interesting take on this whole evolved theme, and it's going to be a sensory experience. So sights, sounds, smells, a little bit of everything. And just kind of, our idea was to get this evolved theme because of how the industry has evolved over the years. I mean, you think about, again, for me, when this might be so my age, but getting started, we didn't have social to do these things. We didn't have digital marketing. I mean, it was you knocking on doors, you kind of going in, trying to figure things out, so it's kind of just the evolution of the industry and, bringing in the latest tech tools, and everything, how it has evolved into what it is today. And to your point, bringing in that next generation that's coming up. I mean, you still have, some of our old school people, but then you've got this whole new generation that's coming up that we have to maintain and attract. So I think, obviously on the marketing side, that strategy, it's always something we have to put the team together, really kind of come up with something that's really good, really bold, that captures attention, and you'll see kind of the different colors. If you've noticed on our social activity currently. And so what that is, we have, like I said, that 4 specific categories. So we have collaboration, planning, execution, and wellness. So all of those pertain to what those colors match that particular category. So you'll see those throughout. And then actually at the event this year, we'll have a social wall. So again, it's through the app that we'll have. So live time social walls that you can upload content, you can do lives, and we'll be encouraging that throughout. We'll have hashtags, all of those things. So people can walk up to, the social wall and really just see everything that's going on. It'll be live there in the hotel. So we're really excited about that. So
we are, and I was thinking about how much to tell because we
like
right. So definitely some really cool surprises and entertainment to
right.
people just to experience new things and see some of the cool things around Austin. Mm-hmm. So we're excited about some surprises. I'll leave it at that. So
yeah.
Come and see what surprises we have for you.
And keep your eye out on social so you can learn more about those surprises. I know there was something we did last year that we put on social, we did through eBlast. We had last year we had at the pool party, it was a luau, so to speak. And so we said, dress in your best tropical. And I know this one here, they missed it. And so they're at the last minute running around trying to find it. But
I was wearing a tropical shirt and Beth's like, I think I need a tropical shirt. I was like, borrow this one. I guess I have a different one.
Right. So
it all came through, but yes.
Yes. So always keep your eye on social to see what information is put out there for you.
Perfect. Okay. So this event, is it open just to core members or is it open to everyone?
No, actually it is open to everyone. But what is unique about this conference is we do have some member only sessions. In fact, 2 days prior to the event is a members only sales and marketing summit that I and myself and Nick Dyroff, one of our national account directors, we actually hold that 2 days prior. And so we meet with all of our members and we have them all bring a strategy, learn about each other's strategies. We make them look at each other as a community, not competition. We want them engaged. We're like, listen, we're not out here to fight each other. We're out here to help each other. Because in the grand scheme of things in this industry, and I mean, with acquisitions and mergers and all of these things, these independent restorers that want to stay independent, we want to make sure that we're engaging them. We're keeping them as a community. So it's a really cool 2 days that, like I said, we just have them present different strategies, to each other, get feedback from their fellow members, things like that. But that is a members only event. So, as far as membership, you want to join that, we got great feedback last year. And obviously, you can go to the website and find out more information on that.
How many members is Core up to? I know I got press releases this morning and you had some new big ones join Elite, like Guarantee and Mammoth and some others, but there were some big names that joined the Elite tier just in this latest round. So how many members are you all together?
So we're actually, for Elite, we're only doing 50 total. So we're at, I think, about 40 now. And then that's when we'll cap off for the Elite, because we want, just the biggest, best, for that. And then we have two other membership tiers. So we have our standard members, which I think we have about 20 of those. And then we have our branded members, which we have about 15 of those. So I don't know what the math is. I'm terrible at math. So.
That's all. Journalism major. I don't know.
Right. So yeah, and our Elite and standard member, our core members, they actually are co-branded. So they get to keep their logo and they have a tagline or a badge that they wear for us. Whereas our branded members, it's very unique as a hybrid franchise, which they get to keep their name that they're known for in their markets. But what they get to do in that is they maintain their independence and they take on the core brand, but keep their name. So they may be Core by KHI Restoration or Core by AJ Development. So they get to keep the name that they've built and they've known. And so we don't want to take that away from them, obviously, because that's how they're known in their markets. So, so it's a very unique model that, has been going really well. So, yeah.
Especially in the M&A landscape that we're in, like you talked about earlier, companies have to find a way to stay competitive as everybody's consolidating. So
absolutely. So, yeah.
Okay. Where do people find out more about the event? How do they register? All of that.
All the good stuff. So the collectivebycore.com, and you can go into register. The top bar has all of the information you need, all the tabs you need to go into. You just go to the register button, you hit register for the conference itself. It'll give you all the options of what level you're at. Again, with our members, we keep, they have bundle options. So if they're doing both the marketing and sales summit as well as the conference, they have bundle options. But then we also have one for just affiliates as well, anyone on our program. So people that want to just check it out, would be, a very, very eye-opening experience, I can guarantee. So
there's definitely, like, on the website now, there's a summary of agenda. There's all the speakers that will be there. So you'll be able to get a lot of information there. If anyone has any specific questions, reach out to me via email, beth.thompson@gowithcore.com. I'm happy to help people answer any questions we can. If I don't have the answers, I'll find the answers. And so they can definitely reach out to me personally.
Yeah. What are some challenges that you two have found organizing an event in this industry? I think this is a unique space because it's so small. I find that with content in the magazine, and there's a lot to juggle in this industry, especially when you know so many people personally. So what are some of the challenges, even maybe outside personal, that you have found with organizing an event?
So I think one of the things that I love most about being in this industry that also creates a little bit of difficulty is obviously we're an industry that helps people in very difficult times, in unexpected times. But what's hard about that for when you're planning anything is so many unknowns. You don't know when a storm's going to hit. We don't know. We're planning this event and we don't know what could potentially happen that would pull people out into that. And that's obviously the priority. So I think being in this industry, one thing that's hard is people don't really plan much in advance because we're used to that life. We're a very reactive industry versus proactive because of all the unknowns. So I think getting people to register, getting people to submit things, it's just difficult. And I think also one of the things that I find a little bit difficult is you want to get people information, but you don't want to drive people crazy. You don't want to hound them, but you also know that it takes almost 10 touches for someone for it to register. So it's like, am I driving them crazy or am I doing a good job? It's like you want to be thorough, but you don't want to. So I think that's tricky. And then just one thing that if you're going to be in events, you just have to be flexible. It's just part of what the job is. Things might not show up. You order things, particularly in the time we're dealing with materials. It might not come on time and you just have to have a plan B and roll with it and not get too ruffled about it. It's just, that's this space. That's what we do. So having a lot of flexibility, I think, is really important. But I think just figuring out the communication and really getting the people the valuable information that they need without, just doing too much or, that kind of thing is something I would say is a little bit challenging. And then just like you said, we want to be set apart. We want to be the standard. We want to set the example of quality. So really searching for and spending a lot of time figuring out what is that? What does that look like? And year after year, trying to stay ahead and one up the year before and make sure that, that's pretty challenging, but it's also exciting. So I think that's another kind of thing, in events is you always want to outdo yourself. So how are you going to outdo you? How are you going to keep outdoing yourself? So.
And I have one unique challenge that last year we talk about all the time, but it was not so much with the people and everything else, but actually getting, when we're in the middle of setup and getting things ready and putting things together, we're all running around doing all these different things. And last year you mentioned the Buddha room, the meditation room that had the Buddha. So anyone that was there knew there was this 15-foot Buddha, that you could and it was a meditation room. You could just sit back. We had, salt lamps, meditation area, even the scent was created in that room for you. But a lot of things that people don't know is that trying to get that Buddha in the door, we literally had to take the hinges off the door without letting the hotel know.
It was a huge Buddha. I remember walking in the room and was like, how did you get this here?
It was work. It was a lot of effort by a lot of people. So we literally had to take the hinges off the door to get it in and really manipulate it, how to get it in, but we did it. No one was the wiser. Of course, now they are.
Well, where there's a will, there is a way.
That's exactly right.
We generally figure it out, whatever it takes. That's kind of our motto, figure it out.
Right.
Yes. Okay. Anything that we didn't cover that you think we should cover about the collective?
I think just, talking about the conference this year and getting the excitement going, we've actually been filling up really fast because, again, a lot of the same people that came last year, they're so excited to see what to expect, what's coming, what these new details, what this new theme is. So that's been really exciting, I think, and invigorating for us. So we are getting close to capacity. So I would obviously encourage anyone that's interested to go ahead and register. Because, we really do believe in this event. We really do feel like it's a conference experience. It's not just your everyday thing. We try to keep it fresh. We try to keep, like you said, new people within the industry. And not that we don't love everyone, but, we definitely just want to make sure that we're keeping new people every year. So it's not the same people even within our conference every year that you're hearing from. So I think that's just important to recognize. You do get the ICRC credits, that I think a lot of people don't know if you attend our event. So there's a lot of different moving parts and pieces. And to Beth's point, if you have any questions, you can always email us, email her. We also have an email called attend at the collective investbycore.com that you can also reach out, and there's a few of us on there that can answer any questions for you as well. So
Perfect.
And I just echo, not necessarily add to what Diane just said. Just go ahead and register to join us if you haven't. Our hotel block is starting to fill up, so we have a limited amount left on that. So make sure you go ahead and reserve your rooms. It's so important to stay on site and just be a part of, like we said, the experience from start to finish. And so the way to do that is to, join us at the hotel. So make sure you go ahead and do that. And we're just excited to see everybody. So,
and it's in Austin. Who doesn't love Austin? It's
Yes.
downtown Austin. It's a fun town.
It is
It's a great hotel. The hotel is really
Right.
great. The venue is great. And
Right.
Okay, so the hotel too, this is a side note. If you want to see more about this hotel, I told Diane, I texted Diane, Dan, and Andy last week. I was like, oh my gosh, I was watching Netflix, and The Ultimatum, which is not a show I've watched, but it popped up on the TV, and I was like, that looks like the downtown Marriott pool. I was like, wait a minute. So I click on to watch it. The whole thing is filmed at the downtown Marriott Austin. So if you want to see our site and what it's going to be like, you can watch an episode of The Ultimatum. You may or may not get sucked in to trash TV. Just saying. But I shouldn't say that. They're real people and they have real feelings. So I don't know what goes on. Edit that out.
backpedal. That was great.
Anyway, but you can see they have some really cool like shots of the hotel, and it's just a really nice environment. So we are excited to see everybody. So come join us. Go ahead and get your ticket today.
And last year we actually had, and again, that no one really knew, while we were doing our sales and marketing summit last year, they were actually filming The Walking Dead on the 6th floor, and nobody knew. So they told us to let us know, hey, by the way, if you hear any noises or bangs or whatever, we just want to let you know to be aware. He said, okay. We're in the middle of the sales and marketing summit, and we're sitting there, and all of a sudden you hear this just like big crash, and I had told nobody. And so the person that was presenting looks over at the wall like, wow, something big happened back there. And so I kind of had to let them know, by the way,
there may not be an extra in a movie.
Right. You may see a zombie or two walking around. I'm not sure. And when we left the room, there was a ton of smoke and these firefighters that walked down. And I was like, oh, I hope everything's okay. Not thinking about what was actually happening. And they're like, oh, no, everything's completely fine. And I was like, oh, okay. Until I walked away, did it dawn on me that they were filming a scene. So it was kind of a neat thing. So this hotel has some history.
Yeah.
Love it. All right. So attend just for the extras that go on at the hotel that you don't know about.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You never know who's going to be there.
Love it. All right, ladies. Well, thank you so much for your time. I look forward to seeing you in a little over a month because the event is coming.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. We're so
6
excited.
weeks.
Yeah.
Give me the 6 weeks. Don't take away my planning.
6 weeks. Okay, 6 weeks. I won't take away any of your planning time.
That's right.
It will be amazing.
Well, and thank you so much for having us both on. We really appreciate the opportunity, and we always love getting to hang out with Michelle. So
Always an icon in the industry.
yes.
Miss Michelle Blevins.
Okay, that will get edited out. Thank you very much.
Edit that out. Allow receive.
That's
Receive.
right.
We'll leave it up to Jeff as he's
There
editing
you
to
go.
decide if that's going to stay or not. And the end can just be whatever he makes of it.
There you go.
Fabulous.
I love it.
All right.
All
Thanks,
right.
guys.
For more Restoration Today, visit our website, cnrmagazine.com, or find us wherever you get your favorite podcasts.